Here.
Thank you. Dr. McIntyre. No. Okay. Dr. Miller is here. And I think I heard Dr. Weddington. Are you here?
Here.
Great. Yeah, we have 10. So we have quorum.
Wood is here too.
Who is?
Dr. Wood is also.
Oh, Dr. Wood is here. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. So we have 11, Dr. Miller.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome commission members, advisors, staff, on-site visitors, and online listeners to the June 28, 2018 conference call meeting of the North Carolina Professional Educator Preparation and Standards Commission. This Standards Commission develops and recommends to the State Board of Education rules related to all aspects of educator preparation programs. I'm Patrick Miller, Chairman of the Professional Educator Preparation and Standards Commission, and I call this meeting to order. Our agenda and materials are available online through the DPI website, www.ncpublicschools.org, on the SBE meetings link. The meeting is also audio streamed through a link located at the bottom of the e-board agenda. I will now read the ethics statement that is required of us. Commission members are reminded that it is our duty to avoid conflicts of interest and the appearance of conflicts of interest as we handle the work of this commission. Does any member of the commission know of any conflict of interest or any appearance of conflict with respect to any matters coming before us at this meeting? If so, please state them for the record. If during the course of the meeting you become aware of an actual or apparent conflict of interest, please bring the matter to the attention of the chair. It will then be your duty to abstain from participating in discussion on the matter and from voting on the matter. I will now call on Dr. Seiberg to discuss the LICN-001 policy addition for permit to teach.
Good afternoon. This is Tom Tomberlin. I will be, with the chair's permission, I will be presenting the discussion on LICN 001.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Committee members, the reason we're here today is in response to some informal data that, data that was collected from the field regarding licensure, the licensure requirement that teachers in their second year pass the required licensure exam in order for their their initial license to continue into the third year. That was done through a rather informal surveying of LEAs, and it was determined that we've got a substantial number of elementary teachers who are in danger of license expiration, and the LEAs are concerned that these are high-quality teachers that will be forced out of the classroom as a result of this policy. As you are all aware, this requirement is in statute, so we cannot remove the requirement that they pass the test in order to maintain their initial professional license. What we can do, however, is leverage board policy, State Board of Education policy, to allow a continuation for 1 year for these teachers. And the mechanism by which we do that is Section 1.90 of LICN 001, which is related to the permit to teach. This is a 1-year non-renewable license that can be used for anyone who holds a baccalaureate degree. What we have proposed here is language that says, effective July 1, an LEA or charter school at its discretion may request a permit to teach for a teacher whose initial professional license expired June 30th, 2018 due to not meeting licensure requirements, as long as the LEA identifies the teacher as effective. So just to kind of explain why we wrote it the way we did, only those teachers who have failed to pass their licensure exam and who the charter school and or the LEA deem effective may apply for this license. And so the LEA or charter has to sponsor that application. And so this is not blanket amnesty for all teachers across the state who did not meet the licensure requirement, the exam requirements. This is a targeted intervention for those teachers that the LEA feel are valuable and effective teachers in the classroom to give them another year to complete this. If the teacher, in current policy, if a teacher's license expires due to not meeting requirements, the board will allow those teachers to apply for a license at the time they meet those testing requirements. So any of these teachers who meet the testing requirement in the third year could apply back to the state for an initial professional license, and we would grant it if they've met all the conditions related to that. Also of note in this policy that's important for LEAs and charter schools to understand is that any teacher who avails themselves of this opportunity would, by policy, have to be paid at the A00 level. So these teachers presumably already have 2 years of experience, but they would have to revert back to an A00. Sorry.
This is Linda. I just want to thank you all for working on this language. I think it's critical and it's going to be very effective, and it'll allow our teachers an opportunity, those that are deemed highly effective at the LEA level, for us to continue employing them as a classroom teacher with classroom pay, even if it's at the A0 level with those benefits. But I have a question about that, the not meeting the licensure requirements. I want to make sure that that phrase there is capturing not just those but for testing in the first or second year, but maybe some of those that have not finalized course requirements that were under the lateral entry category as well. Is that your understanding of that language?
So this is for IPLs only, not a lateral license. If that person is in danger of not meeting the testing requirement, the coursework requirements in the time frame, the appropriate remedy is to seek redress in front of the Extenuating Circumstances Board of the State Board of Education. So there is a policy remedy for that situation.
Right.
And that this would not be applicable.
Right, okay, thank you. And so let me ask one other question here. These same teachers would have to pay the $60 to be able to get the permit to teach, correct?
That is correct.
Will the vendor be able to add a drop? I mean, I know that's beyond the verbiage here, but will the vendor be able to add a drop-down box in the online system so that LEAs can choose permit to teach, and we could do that without charging them? They're going to lose money anyway and go back to the A0 without charging them the $60.
So I appreciate the question, and this is a question.
I know that's more logistical.
It is. It's not a policy question. It's a process question. I think if we have, my expectation of what's going to happen here is if this policy moves forward from this commission, we already have a tentative green light from the State Board of Education. Susan Ruiz and I will work with the Deputy State Superintendent to write out an implementation plan that will be communicated to all the districts and charters, as well as the EPPs. Is that reasonable? I can't answer your...
That sounds great. I think I have one more question. And I know that our primary focus is on this permit to teach, but because I've gotten a couple of questions from the field on this, and I think you may have two, Tom, as well. On the counselor requirements, districts have already hired counselors under the 18 graduate semester. Is there not a way, instead of implementing if we have to go to 24 hours, can we not put that in there effective the 2019-20 school year, since it's taken us a while to get this policy right and approved?
All right, can you direct me to the section?
Page 11 of the policy, under 1.55, school counselors. For some reason, that has been changed from 18 graduate semester hours to 24 hours. And districts have already been hiring since the spring under the old policy.
This policy has not been approved yet, so I would have to defer to Chairman Miller.
19-20 school year, and that will give us time as a licensure committee to look at the reason why it was changed in the first place.
So I have to defer to Chairman Miller as to whether he is willing to entertain this conversation. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I just don't.
Linda, for today, let's just get this emergency piece done so the state board can vote on it, if that's okay, and then we can come back and revisit this. Is that okay?
I think so.
I would, and Glenda, I would need to check with the school counselor consultant to make sure this is not any statute related to this change. I doubt it is, but I have to confirm that before I can give you the green light on that.
Well, that's okay, and I'm perfectly fine going forward with just getting this approved so that we can keep our teachers employed. That right now, I'm fine with that. I was just more concerned about the fact that we have a lot of districts that hired under the old guidelines, but we can fix that after this gets approved.
Right.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Are there other questions for Tom?
The only, just a comment. I know how bad school districts need teachers to fill positions. I think that somehow or another the communication needs to be shared that they're going to have to deem these teachers to be effective. I would hope that their evaluations represent the same up until that decision is made, because it also gives you an opportunity to empty a classroom when you've got a less than effective teacher. But I would hope there will be uniformity there, that just because they need the teacher, they all of a sudden call them effective. All their evaluations may not represent the same findings.
Dr. Houston, this is Linda, and just being in the field and knowing that, teachers that were not affected based on their evaluations or the calibration of those evaluations by principals through their observations this school year, they're not being brought back. And the majority of those had nothing to do with testing.
Yeah,
So I'm with you on that, as far as statewide, I don't think that's going to be the issue, that people are just going to put a warm body in there, because they could have done that basically without, petitioning us to fix this problem. But I agree with you. It needs to be, make sure that they've been calibrated throughout the year and that these teachers are highly effective, according to the LEA.
Even back in the Stone Age, when I was doing this work at the district level, we released everyone and only brought back the ones we wanted to. But this is a little different, because they're going to have to say it publicly that they are found effective, and I hope that that will be the case.
And I think it is the intent of the deputy state superintendent to reinforce that point in the communication, that the LEAs are taking responsibility for the effectiveness of these teachers. And it will be incumbent upon the LEAs and charters to explain to their stakeholders why these decisions were made.
All right. Are there other questions or comments?
Hi, this is Hank. I at least want to say there were a number of institutions of higher education who chose not to allow a student to leave recommended for licensure without having the test pass, basically on an ethical issue that we felt like if they couldn't pass before they got out with us, there was a good chance they wouldn't pass once they were in their first 2 years, and then would be in jeopardy of leaving their jobs. I think a number of us have even created programs at this point that would kind of sort out the people who weren't going to pass the test before they got to licensure so they could choose another major. Possibly people who could have been great teachers save these tests that we're questioning right now as to whether or not they're valid tests for what we want to measure. So I'm just a little concerned about giving an emergency license. And I understand the reasoning and understand that schools need teachers right now. I'm just worried that we're setting a precedent for another extension next year, and I've turned students away who want to be teachers, who could be great teachers out in the field, who aren't going to get that chance now because they've had to major in another thing, because we felt ethically that we only wanted to turn out people who could meet all licensure requirements before they went into the field. And I just want to make sure that that piece was out there.
Thank you, Dr. Weddington. That is certainly a valid concern, and I hope that there will be no need for us to extend this next year, that our committee, working in collaboration with the state board, can find a permanent fix during the 2018-19 school year. But you never know what will happen, but I do, your concerns have been noted.
Dr. Miller.
I think also the disincentive, I was just going to, this is Megan Loftus, I was just going to say quickly that I totally agree, and I also think the disincentive by being paid, again, as a first-year teacher, will hopefully naturally fix and provide a little bit of an impetus for people to get all that taken care of, while still acknowledging that there's a space for flexibility with our teacher shortage. So agree, and think that hopefully the extension isn't necessary for that reason too, because it doesn't naturally set itself up for anyone to continue to be in that situation over and over. So just a thought from earlier.
Thank you. Other comments?
This is Lisa Godwin. I want to ask a clarifying question. If they do go to this emergency license, will the year of service count towards their retirement?
Yes. They would be paid with state funds.
Okay.
And presumably it would not impact any eventual retirement benefit because it's occurring so early in the career. That dip in the third year would not have an impact on their overall retirement benefit.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Dr. Miller, may I address Dr. Weddington's comment with a second issue that we have to address in this policy, and that is on page 5. Thank you. On page 5, and I'm not sure if everyone saw the latest version that came out, but one of the in our discussions with DPI leadership and the State Board of Education chair of this the Educational Standards and Practices Committee, one of the things that has come to light from this is we do not have good, reliable data on teacher testing for our initially licensed teachers. And so one of the things we're recommending in policy here is that beginning July 1st, 2018, that all initially licensed teachers for whom a licensure exam is required must request from the testing vendor that their licensure exam scores be submitted directly to NCDPI. We can't, while I am fully confident that the work that Glenda Jones did in collecting the magnitude of the issue is accurate, I can't verify that through state data because of the way we report these test scores. So what I'm trying to do is, as this commission works to reforming licensure policy in the coming year to ensure that we don't have this issue again, we need data to drive those discussions. And I don't have the data to give to the board, to the commission and or the State Board of Education for making those decisions. So that's the purpose of that policy recommendation on page 5.
Okay. Further questions or comments? Hearing none, I would now entertain a motion for the commission to recommend LICN-001 to the state board.
This is Glenda. I make a motion.
Thank you, Glenda. We have a motion. Connie second. Connie, thank you, Connie. We have a motion and a second to recommend LICN-001 to the State Board of Education. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approval, please say aye.
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 Are there any opposed? And the policy has been approved for recommendation to the State Board of Education. So thank you, commission members, advisors, and staff for your time and flexibility to schedule this meeting. I'd like to remind commission members that our next standing meeting will be held in the State Board of Education meeting room on Thursday, August 9th from 9 to 12. We've now completed our meeting, and I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Leslie Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sam. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you very much.